So they can't fly to Botswana together. He says there's 2 reasons, but really there's only one, so I don't even know why he bothers with the second, except that it involves the press, so he had to bring it in. He says they couldn't fly because he's actually already in Africa. He'd already been doing some work, and she was going to be flying in from Canada, I assume. And that was the first reason. That's the only reason. You're already there, so you can't fly in together because you're already there. That's the only reason. But the second reason, he says, is that we couldn't risk being seen together. The press finding out about us. Not yet. Not yet. Okay, well, but the thing is, you know, she has really impressed upon him that she's super famous. And he believes it, you guys. Hook, line, and sinker. He totally believes that she's like this A-list celebrity. Okay. Side note here. The willful ignorance throughout this entire portion is stunning. It's like he believes she's really famous, but I'm like, from what? Where did you get this idea? Like, even her blog. I mean, I'm not saying she had no followers, but I mean, it's not like she had like 1 million people reading her blog or anything like that. She was not a household name, and somehow she has gotten to make him believe that she is. And we know he's Googling her. He said he is. Okay. But somehow he believes like she is, you know, hobnobbing with the big names, and, you know, that the poor girl can barely function in society because, you know, she's just so famous. Anyway, once she gets done doing her eat, pray, love thing, she flies from London to Johannesburg. Okay, so she wasn't flying from Canada, she was flying from London. And it's this long journey for her. And he can't meet her at the airport because he has a prior commitment, so he asks Tish to meet her. Now, you guys, okay, I can't seem to get ahead because I keep making all these little side notes, but just bear in mind, watch the way he uses Tish and Mike throughout this whole chapter to continue to progress his purposes, okay? They are props for him. Like, when he needs to feel loved, when he needs to feel cherished, when he needs, Tish and Mike have to come to the rescue. But I have never, in all of this, seen him giving to Tish and Mike. I don't see him doing anything to repay them for their enormous generosity. And it is like unbelievable how much they will just drop everything for him. I don't understand why they do it. But anyway, Tish has been tasked with the job of going and getting Meghan from the airport. So he is stunned because after this 11-hour odyssey, including a 3-hour layover in Johannesburg and a hot car ride to the house, he says that Meghan had every right to be grumpy. But she wasn't. She was bright-eyed and eager, ready for anything. Well, what sort of a person would show up on like what is essentially their 3rd date? You know, just this mega bitch. You know what I mean? Like, it's not time to be that person yet. So of course she's going to be like super overly like excited, like, oh my gosh, I'm here. You guys, what are we doing next? You know, that whole song and dance. And the thing is that like the fact that he thinks that she should be grumpy, I'm like, has she given you the impression that this kind of thing would, like, do you know her so little now that you don't know how her reaction would be? Or do you know her enough to know that when she doesn't get her way, she gets grumpy? Have you met other girls that would you know, have a bad attitude? I mean, she knows she's going into Africa. It's not going to be like, you know, short Uber car ride over. Why would she be grumpy? Okay, anyway, I'm only 2 paragraphs in. I gotta hurry up. Okay, so he says that she just looked like ... perfection. And he says she was wearing cut-off jeans, these well-loved hiking boots, a crumpled Panama hat. I mean, she's come in the costume, you guys, okay? I have never been to Africa, but if I was going to Africa, I don't think that I'd wear cut-off jean shorts for a number of reasons. One being, I don't know that that is particularly appropriate for the culture there. But for a more practical reason, Africa's covered in thorns. Like, cover your legs. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not the time to show your man, you know, what you're packing as far as like how good your legs look, right? Seems like just cover yourself so that those gorgeous legs of yours aren't destroyed by the thorns, but whatever. Okay, now you guys, this part just really hurt my heart, and I don't know why, like, I don't know why I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like, literally, I'd be driving in the car and I'd think of it. And I'd just be like, oh man, oh, I hate that, I hate that, I hate that, I hate that. He says that he is so excited to see her. He comes to the gate, he opens the gate at Tish and Mike's house, and he hands her a chicken salad sandwich wrapped in saran wrap or cling film. I thought you might be hungry. I suddenly wished I had flowers or a present or something beside this measly sandwich. And we hugged, and it was awkward. Not just because of the sandwich, but the unavoidable suspense. We talked on FaceTime countless times since our first dates, but this was all new and different and a bit strange. I think him bringing a sandwich is really nice, honestly. Like, you've traveled for 11 hours. Like, for me, I'd be like, thank God, please. You know, I'd unwrap and, like, feast on it immediately. And I don't know, like, his little offering, trying, and then, like, feeling like it wasn't good enough. Like, what was her response that he felt awkward because of the sandwich? Like, that's really nice. Thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for the food, you know? Like, I don't know. Like, it just, like, makes me feel kind of sad. Him handing her that little chicken sandwich and then, like, feeling like it was, like, you know, lame. It's not lame. Thank you for the food. Like, that's not lame. Oh, man, I hate that. I just hate that so much. I hate it when people try to do a kind thing and, like, it just falls flat. Like, I just, Anyway, whatever. Okay, so he says that they're both kind of a little bit stressed out because they're both wondering, is this going to translate? You know, we've enjoyed talking to each other FaceTime, constantly text, constantly. We've met each other twice in London. And so they're wondering if how it's going to be. And, you know, what if it's not great and they're, like, stuck out here in the bush together? Oh, okay, and now we have one of the many lies that she loves to tell. He asks us about the flight, and immediately she starts talking about herself. She laughed about the Air Botswana crew. They were huge fans of Suits. And so they'd asked her to pose for a picture. Huge fans. I mean, they have binged the entire series and so excited to see me. And so, like, you know, of course they wanted a picture. Oh, you know, it's kind of hard because I was, like, not in the mindset to take pictures, but, you know, you gotta do stuff for the fans. Without the fans, there wouldn't be any me, so I did. But yeah, it's kind of a crazy flight. Okay, so, you know, that is so much BS, I cannot even. Okay, the way he talks about Suits, like it was like Friends or something, like everybody on earth has seen it. I had never even heard of Suits until Meghan Markle came on the scene. And to this day, I've never watched an episode. I don't even know what channel that show was on. I don't know if it was bigger, maybe in England or Australia, or like, where were people watching this show? I don't know. But it wasn't in America. No American's ever even heard of that show. But he continues to act like everybody that they come in contact with is like, whoa, Meghan Markle off of Suits. That's crazy. How did you pin that girl down? Like, no, nobody even knows who this girl is, but he doesn't get that. Anyway, he totally believes that everybody on the Botswana flight, you know, was crazy about meeting Meghan. And he's over there being like, oh no, what if somebody posts the picture and then it's gonna be the cat out of the bag that she's here with me? It's like, you know what, that is so super self-centered because according to her, she's always in Africa doing aid work. All the time. It's just like my second home with me and the kids and the gorillas. And so it's like, why would they immediately be like, oh, Prince Harry's also in Africa? Let me do the math. What could that mean? No, nobody would even think of it. Because first of all, no one even noticed that she was even going to Africa because nobody cares or tracks what she does at all. Anyway, he's like, I just hope nobody posts the picture. Okay, so anyway, after they have that, you know, little moment of lies and anxiety, they get into the truck and they bounce around on the roads, and, you know, he's over there pointing out all the African wildlife, and, you know, they're just having this lovely nature studies moment. And then he says he waits a respectful period of time before he holds her hand, and then when the road gets a little flatter so he doesn't smash her in the face, he ventures a kiss. It's just as both of us remembered. There's a connection. It's a lot of boring talk about how he's pointing everything out to her, and just the way he writes about them, like watching the animals, is just annoying. I can't even describe it. I wish that I could articulate why it bugs me, but, you know. Look. Oh my God, is that giraffes? Over there, look. Family of warthogs. I saw a breeding herd of elephants. Dads, moms, babies. Hi guys! We started along a firebreak road. The birds were going nuts, which sent a weird shiver down my spine. Lions in the area. No way, she said. I don't know. I don't have the energy to even try to articulate why it's annoying, but it just is. Trust me. Okay, anyway, finally they get to the little satellite camp that Tish and Mike have already prepared. Okay, so like they're just his, they're just his little minions. Like he says jump, and Tish and Mike are just like, what? How can we do everything to make your life easier? I mean, it's very generous of them, but it just bothers me that he doesn't ever seem to notice that it's so generous. It's like he just takes it for granted that he can just tell, African mom and dad what to do and they'll do it. Anyway, he says that Meghan, whom I was now calling Meg, or sometimes just M, was stunned at all the vivid colors and the fresh air, blah, 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 blah. And then he says, when they finally got to the little camp, M said that she needed something out of her suitcase. It was a small suitcase, he would admit, but he says that he shamefully stereotyped this American actress because he figured that she was probably some sort of a diva, and she'd probably start pulling out hair dryers and makeups and fluffy duvets and many, many shoes. And then to his shock and delight, there wasn't anything in the suitcase but the bare essentials: shorts, ripped jeans, and snacks, and a yoga mat. Oh, the yoga mat. Now, I think it's funny that he says that he was shamefully stereotyping her as an American actress that equals a diva. And you know what I think to that? I think that that was when he still knew his ass from his elbow. Because she is an American actress who is a diva, but you somehow are not noticing that she's just one step ahead of you in this game. She made sure that you saw what was in her bag so that you would know that she was just like this super nature girl. It's just me, my, bag of nuts and my yoga mat. So super like into the dirt and like nature and just like, being. Just love to just be. So here she is, by the fire. He says that T showed her how to cut off the end of a plastic water bottle and turn it into a goblet so they could drink wine out of that. I don't really get how that works. What kind of water bottle was that? The stem would be this long. I don't get that. Why don't you just pour the wine in the water bottle? Why do you gotta like make this? Okay, whatever. I gotta move on. Okay, he says they laugh about the fact that she says flashlight, he says torch. Isn't it so charming, the diversity that's already within this union? He says it was a very Spartan setup in their tent. Okay, so if she thought she was glamping, this is really blowing her out of the water, but she was so awesome about it because she like didn't even complain that they were just, in a normal tent. And I just want to say this. Yeah, one more side note. Okay, she's totally fine with the Spartan conditions of the tent, right? You just wait till she finally gets to not caught for the first time, and his paranoia, his fear, his anxiety about allowing her to come into his home is so, it makes my heart rate go up just thinking about the situation. Because here's the thing, like I have had a relationship in the past that so mirrored this, that I think this is why I am so hyper agitated by the things that she does, because I just see it. I know it. I know what it is to be in a relationship with somebody who uses power and control and manipulation to make you feel small. And if you're not in the right headspace to combat that, you don't even see it for what it is, And anyway, I mean, not to make this about me. It's not about me. I just think that that's why, like, the first date and the second date stuff and like just her little comments about like, are you watching cartoons, and like constantly putting him down and making him feel like there's hoops that he has to jump through in order to gain her approval, and then she'll met out this gratitude, appreciation, or forgiveness at measured intervals to make sure that he's still coming along for the ride. But then as soon as he gets close enough, she shoves him away. That little song, that song and dance of immaturity, I recognize that, and I hate that for him. And it's like why I hated the whole thing with the sandwich, because I have been in situations where I've tried to make a gesture and it was very clearly disdained, and I thought I was being nice, and it was a nice thing that I did, but it's like, oh, I can't let you get too close. I can't let you think you're winning yet. I gotta, make sure that I've still got my boot on your throat, And so anyway, all this to say, he's so grateful for her for not pitching a fit about camping, but she'd been invited on a camping trip. So why was he anticipating that she would have a bad attitude? It's so weird to me how much he likes her, because I can't even see anything about his experience that would indicate that he was enjoying himself. It's constantly this need to gain her approval, constantly this this race that, to get, to stay ahead of her disdain, to stay ahead of her disapproval, to keep her happy. That's how it's been since day one. Never, there's nothing in this relationship that would show that she's extending anything of herself. And I just don't know why he stayed in it, except for the fact that because she was beautiful and his identity and his self-worth was crumbling so quickly that he thought, if I can get her stamp of approval, then I'm actually okay. I'm okay. I'm not the mess that I'm telling myself. If she wants me, that means I really am worth something. And so he is willing to constantly run after her affection because her affection means he's okay. Anyway, they go camping, but she gets freaked out in the middle of the night because they hear a munching sound. Oh, it's elephants. And, it won't hurt us, will it? It's eating like right outside the tent. No, it's fine. Then she hears lions roaring. She can't go to sleep. But, he calms her down. It's like, lay your head on my chest and trust me, I'll keep us safe. And when I read that, she lays her head on his chest and he says, trust me, I told her I'll keep you safe. That was like another heart-stopping moment. Just like the whole, the first time we read Meghan Markle's name, because it's like, no, you're not going to keep, you aren't keeping you two safe, okay? No. She's allowed you to believe that you are the strong leader here, super masculine guy who's going to, herd the family towards safety, that together in your union, you are going to, it's y'all against the world, and you're so strong and protective and manly, and you're going to make sure that nothing happens to her. And it's like, no, you actually are none of those things. She's letting you play act in the dark over there. Meanwhile, she's got, 10 balls in the air, and she's the one steering you straight into the pits of hell, but she's letting you believe that you're something that you aren't. Anyway, the whole time they're there, she's just talking about herself, all about how, okay, he says that she told him this. Meg told us a bit about her life, about growing up in Los Angeles, about her struggles to become an actress, doing quick changes between auditions in her rundown SUV, on which the doors didn't always work. She was forced to enter through the boot. She talked about her growing portfolio as an entrepreneur, her lifestyle website, which had tens of thousands of readers. In her free time, she did philanthropic work. Especially fierce about women's issues. I was fascinated, hanging on every word, while in the background I heard a faint drumbeat. She's perfect, she's perfect, she's perfect. But why? Explain to me. This is so classic Harry throughout this entire book. Make a statement, tell me nothing. Why is she so perfect? Because she can talk all about herself and make you feel like she's an accomplished person, so that if this accomplished person chooses you, then you're okay? Is it something that selfish? Or is there something about her that you're like, together, the two of us, I could give her this and she could give me this, we'd be a great partnership. What exactly about this relationship is so wonderful? Okay, but he says that Charles and Cress had always told him that he had a Jacqueline Hyde personality, that when he'd come to Africa, he'd be, as they said, Happy Spike in Botswana. But then when he'd come back, he'd be Prince Harry in London, and he was very tightly wound and hard to get along with and all of this. And he says, I'd never been able to synthesize the two, and it bothered me. It bothered them, and it bothered me. But this woman, I thought, I could do it. I could be Happy Spike all the time. And cue all of the pictures of him looking miserable. Why did he think he could be so happy with her? He hasn't done a good job of explaining why it is that he thinks that she would be such an addition to his life, other than the fact that everything he says is though she's applying for a job in his life. He quotes her CV like it's something that that is what made her worthy of being part of his life. And I know he doesn't feel that way, but that's all he can say about her, because that's quite frankly all she was offering. I do this, 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 I do this. Aren't I awesome? And no, you ain't awesome, because all the things you're saying is just a lot of overhyped stuff. But anyway, he says that Meg called him Has. That's her little name. I guess she hadn't graduated to calling him H yet. Why does she do that? Does she think that's British? She's definitely watched too much of Bridget Jones. Anyway, he says when it was time for them to part, it's very emotional. He said that he had this 3-phase lads trip planned. It'd been planned for months. And he said he just couldn't cancel it because they'd be upset. Well, who's expecting you to? Meghan just finished telling you before you even came on this little trip that she had her little eat, pray, love summer. She's already regaled you with all of the reasons why she couldn't be with you. But now that he has something to do with his friends, now she starts crying. Here come the waterworks. She's like, I just don't know how I'm gonna do this without you. I don't know how I'm gonna go home without you and you going out with your friends. And she's crying, when will I see you again?
Don't worry. I'll make sure you don't feel lonely when I'm gone. Don't cry, don't cry.
So it's like, oh, this is another, one more step in her many-phased plan. You know, it's like, well, what happened to everything you said you had to do? You said you were so busy. It should be no thing that he's got something to do because you are so busy. But now that he has something to do, now she needs to make sure he feels put upon. Now she's going to start that emotional manipulation. Why are you leaving me to go with your friends? Don't you care about me? You know, so it's just like, lady, anything she can do to make him feel emotionally on edge. We're going to watch that pattern.